The First Amendment has been enshrined into the Constitution by the Bill of Rights. This guarantees the freedom of speech, right to assembly, right to petition the government, and freedom to practice religion as much or as little as you please within the law. It also provides freedom of the press, allowing journalists to criticize the government and reporting the truth about current affairs. However, with the advent of the internet pushing discourse into the hands of private companies such as Facebook and Google, it is clear that the rights there are being redefined.
So yes, in the book, you won't be surprised, I mention The Handmaid's Tale, I mention 1984, I mention Brave New World, because I want readers to say, okay, I may not agree with everything she says, but you know what? I have to agree with this fundamental premise that we can't sacrifice truth and facts on the altar of partisanship.
The question must be asked, is the First Amendment being challenged?
I absolutely believe that freedom of speech is being attacked. We're seeing it every day, both from the right and from the left. If news comes out that is not to the liking of one side or the other, it is deemed to be fake news. We are carrying the truth back to the United States or back to other Western cultures. And I think in our own country and in countries in Europe, there is a tremendous wave of nationalism that is trying to stifle the media getting at the complete truth.
I think that we are currently enmeshed in a round of identity politics where we shout at each other from our different identities as liberals and conservatives. And I think that is an either-or fallacy. I don't believe that society needs either liberals or conservatives. I think we need both progress and tradition. I think that when you're talking about traditions, though, what specific tradition? Because if we're talking about the tradition of discriminating against African Americans, that's a bad tradition. I'd like to get rid of it. Discriminating against women, that's a bad tradition. I'd like to get rid of it. But protecting freedom of speech, that's a good tradition, and I would surely like to protect it.
Most of the time it seems that people believe that freedom of speech is being challenged if their point of view is not heard, but they don't feel the same way if there's an opposing point of view being shared. I find it difficult to find many advocates on the airways who actually generally do believe freedom of speech is a good thing, no matter the slant of the opinion and or speech being given.
This amendment has been endangered from society in recent times. Political officials and public speakers have vocally been against it or have been trying to limit the power of it in the U.S. Constitution. President Trump claimed in an interview that he believes that the freedom of speech needs to be limited and censored to a certain extent. The First Amendment has been modernized to where journalist organizations like the New York Times have claimed in their articles that it's only favoring the conservatives and claim that it is in the best intentions of the U.S. to kill the First Amendment.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the invitation to address you. Tomorrow is the one-year anniversary of the day 50 Evergreen students that I had never met, disrupted my class, accusing me of racism and demanding my resignation.
After being exiled from Evergreen State College, Brett Weinstein was confronted by an angry mob of students for his desire to let students and faculty of a minority race take a day of absence from the institution, as well as equity for minorities and LGBTQ students. His request was ignored by the administration, and instead it was allowed for students and faculty that were the white ethnicity to take the day of silence instead. This sparked Weinstein to vocally speak out about freedom of speech on college campuses after a mob of students violently, verbally, and physically attacked him. He spoke up about how freedom of speech is being abused and it's only available as a select group of people.
I believe that the First Amendment guarantees your right and my right to criticize the government. I like the fact that I can say what I feel about the government. And I don't have to be factually correct, I can simply express myself. It is the fourth estate, though. Its job is to serve as watchdog and to criticize and to call attention to things the government does.
The First Amendment is very vital to the United States.
This is a nation founded by immigrants. Our nation was founded on freedom of speech. And we can't call something fake news just because we don't like the message. The news, journalism must be kept. It is so easy to hide behind a screen, write whatever you want to, say whatever you want to, Photoshop whatever you want to, and send it out as the truth.
The U.S. was founded upon the First Amendment. We, as American citizens, must do everything we possibly can to fight for our right and to protect it from the challenges it faces in modern society. Freedom of speech does not belong to the conservatives or the liberals. It belongs to America. It is one of the most important things that define us as American.
The last time that a major Western power put a curb on journalism, Adolf Hitler came into power.